One of the things we want to talk about a little bit is the defensive end position. So this was Ed Orgeron talking. One of the more competitive situations we think in this camp is playing time at defensive end.
You know, I really like Andre. I really like the work that he's doing. Travez Moore is starting at left end right now. It's Travez's senior year. He's done a good job. And behind him is Ali Gay, who's done a tremendous job. And then the freshman, B.J. Ojulari, again, yesterday he had 4 or 5 sacks. And you're going to see him on third down. He's definitely considered a starter in the rotation. Phillip Webb is doing well. So those guys are looking good. Jarrell Cherry, we moved in to defensive tackle. Sony can play defensive end or defensive tackle. Those are 2 guys that are having a tremendous camp. Their opportunity has come. They're showing us that they can do some things.
He's starting to talk about, not starting, he's been doing this, but we haven't necessarily talked about it maybe in these terms yet. B.J. Ojulari, when he talks about him in the same vein that they talked about Caleb Von Chasson when he got to camp. They talk about him a little bit like when Arden Key got to camp. It's like, hey, this guy spends the afternoon in the backfield. We're starting to hear that kind of talk. At least that's what it struck me as.
Yeah. And you've heard me say this before, but there was 2 guys that everybody in the building couldn't stop buzzing about, and BJ was one of them, and Eric Gilbert was the other once they got here. And for as long as I've been doing this, when everybody in the building's talking about a guy, watch out for him, and watch out for him extremely soon into their careers. And this is a guy that I think, like Coach O just mentioned, he's going to be on the field. He's going to be on the field. They have got a plan for him, and I would not be surprised, even if he's not there at the very beginning of the season on first through third down, if he doesn't assume that role at some point in the season. He has elite pass rushing ability, and this is a guy that from the get-go they're going to trust on third downs. He is going to be in the cheetah package, and I'm excited about the young rushers because it's the position that I had the most questions about. And so I want to see them get out there against another team and see what they can do. And they've got 3 games to hone their skills, to hone in on them and whatever they might be, because then you know the schedule gets a little bit more difficult. And that was the great part about LSU getting those 3 games in the order that they did because, yeah, you're replacing 14 draft picks, 18 guys that were in NFL camps, right? You're doing a lot of new. And so, look, from the get-go, put them out there, see what they can do. There's a reason that you recruited them at that position.
And something else that I think is worth mentioning is that as good as Ojulari has been, and Ali Gay, and Phillip Webb, the 2 guys that he mentioned first are the veterans, that the starters right now are 2 seniors in Anthony and Moore. It doesn't mean that those other guys aren't going to be on the field a lot. I think as fans and as media, we sometimes gravitate towards the new guy, especially if the incoming starters haven't been starters before. You're ready for that next impact guy, that next All-American type guy, the guy that hits the field, very first game of his freshman year. Whereas at the beginning of it, maybe the better option is the veteran, and that's what Ed said there, which is my 2 seniors are there. I'm going to consider Ojulari a starter, but it's in kind of the third down packages. So just a thought there on the veteran. Since you brought up Eric Gilbert.
Eric is the type of tight end we've been looking for to stretch the field. Yesterday, we ran a vertical route right up the field. He beat the Mike linebacker, touchdown. That's a dagger in the heart to the defense. But we can spread him out. He can play X. He can play Z. He's a good player. He's a physical player. 6'5", 251. We have red zone today. I mean, just like in the backyard of Solid Foods, right? Just throw it alley-oop, catch it, and touchdown, right? So there's a lot of things that he can do, but he's a tremendous young man. I was leaving the office on Sunday. He was coming to study tape on his own. Very, very driven. I think he's going to be an excellent player for us.
It's a cheat code. It's a cheat code. It truly is. When you have a guy with that skill set, you can line him up anywhere, and he can have an advantage. And I know we're putting a lot on this true freshman's plate, but when you have that body type, and when you can play a Y, when you can play F, when you can play X, when you can play all over the board, and you don't notice him being out of place, you can use that weapon. That's what LSU is going to do. There's going to be a lot of times that he is in a different position. Don't just expect him to be in the slot, or don't expect him to be in line. Don't expect him to be a little bit off the ball. He is going to be all over the place. And this is a guy that has a unique skill set. And I don't use unique very often. In this case, that's the only word you can use because we heard Jacoby Stevens say it. Look, the guy's as fast as a receiver. He's bigger than everybody else, and he can do so many different things. And the thing that I think is the most positive thing is you hear he's aggressive, right? And he buys into the blocking schemes because that's always the question when you get a tight end like this. Okay, how interested is he in blocking? Like Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham's a great receiver, or can go high point the ball. He ain't real interested in being an inline blocker, right? And so if you got a guy that does both, that buys into that, man, that's lagniappe there.
The very first thing that he said, though, this is the type of tight end we've been looking for, the guy that can get down the field. Thaddeus Moss caught 47 balls for 570 yards last year. He averaged over 12 yards a catch. That was a little over a yard per catch less than what Justin Jefferson averaged, about 2 yards and change less than what Terrace Marshall averaged. In other words, that guy was pretty good. that guy had a tremendous, and he missed he missed 3 games. So I'm sorry, missed one game.
Yeah.
That guy had one of the best receiving seasons for a tight end in LSU history.
He had the best because he broke all of Dick Dixon's.
He didn't have more touchdowns. I have to say that because Richard's not here.
Obligated.
Richard's not here to defend himself. He caught more balls for more yards, and Richard had pretty much the entire tight end
had all
record book
he
to
had
himself.
Single season and career.
Yeah,
and
so he had that last year, and
right.
But this guy's better.
And I don't even know if he was saying he was better. I think he's just saying this is the mold. This is the body type that we want. And Thaddeus Moss was a guy who you kind of knew what he could do. And with the new tight ends, there's multiple things they can do. And you look at a Cole Taylor who's 6'7", 240 pounds. You look at a Nick Storrs who's 6'5", 260. We know Gilbert's size. That's the mold. That's the body type that they're looking for. And don't just think, Nick Storrs is on the LSUsports.net roster in his baseball picture. He's not going to play. No, the word is he has exceeded all expectations out there on the football field. So this room looks completely different than it did a year ago, right? Because even last year, you were trying to get it was Thaddeus Moss, but you were trying to get other guys who weren't true tight end bodies in that position because you didn't really have some backups that you could count on. And so now you've got a clear cut of what they want from that position.
Word on Storrs is he's got the best fastball of any of the tight ends. And a pretty good curveball, too.
I'm pretty sure that's factual.
One of the other things that we wanted to get to, we asked Brody Miller this question, so this was Ed. Sort the cornerbacks after Stingley.
Yeah, we're really pleased with Cordell Flott. I think that Cordell Flott has solidified himself as a starter, either in the nickel package or in the base package where he can play corner. Jay Ward is coming along. He's doing well. Obviously, we got Stingley and Elias Ricks, who's the best cornerback in the country. He's coming. He had a shoulder injury in the spring. He hadn't practiced. Man, you can see him getting better and better every practice. And Dwight McGlothern is an excellent tall corner. He is tough. He is like glue on the receivers, breaks on the ball well.
So he's still given options on Cordell Flott, whether he'll be outside or whether he'll be in the nickel. I hope he ends up in the nickel because I just like saying Flott in the slot.
Print the shirt, Tanny.
but either way.
But Brody was right about you feel good about the 3 that are probably going to be on the field the most time. It's the injury concern. And, Jay Ward's a guy that they think high of across the street, but you still want to see him play a little bit more. I'm expecting if they do add someone, it is a very veteran player who has not been a superstar, but he is a steady Eddie, when they got Alexander from Stanford, right? So maybe some guys that have a little bit of a local tie and just a guy that they can count on if there is an injury and a guy who's played a lot of football.